George Clooney and Brad Pitt's new movie Wolves is on Apple TV Plus September 27th.
That's where I want you to be now.
So if you want to see George Clooney and Brad Pitt, go to Apple TV Plus.
You got to start the story there.
Or if you want to see Brad Pitt and George Clooney, go to Apple TV Plus.
I am enjoying the show.
And if you want to see their new movie Wolves,
You can't do it, I'm going to help you out. I can do it, so do it.
definitely go to Apple TV Plus.
Admit it, it's cool. Okay, fine, it was very cool.
Wolves, streaming September 27th on Apple TV Plus. Rated R.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
I'm Phil Kitramalides.
And I'm Sid Lowe.
And every week we bring you the latest from La Liga in the Spanish football podcast. Sid, this season's going to be amazing, isn't it?
We've got Kylian Mbappe at Real Madrid, Dani Olmo at Barcelona, and Julian Alvarez at Atletico.
Don't forget Nico Williams at Athletic Club as well.
And definitely don't forget Leganés. Their mascot is literally a giant cucumber.
Hear all about it every Monday in the Spanish football podcast.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Friday before a weekend in which we take on Bournemouth. And we have news today that Alisson Becker is a doubt for tomorrow's game. He has not trained since Tuesday's game against AC Milan, and the club are going to be cautious with him, obviously, because we can't afford to have Alisson out for any considerable length of time. He's far too good, far too important. We are very fortunate that we do have a backup goalkeeper who is of a good standard in Kevin Kelleher. We also have a third-choice goalkeeper who's of a good standard in Vítězslav Jaros. So with Ali out, Kelleher comes in and Jaros is on the bench, and we're still in good shape. We still have better goalkeepers than the team we're playing tomorrow. Kevin is a better goalkeeper than Kepa. Kepa's probably more talented. He's probably a better shot stopper. But as an all-round goalkeeper, Kevin is a better goalkeeper than Kepa. And I think Jaros is, if not on a par, if not better than Mark Travers, certainly on par with Travers. So we're in good shape. Ali, hopefully with the weekend off, and then he won't play against West Ham. That'll be a Kelleher game as well. That gives him time to rest and recover and come back in next weekend, all going well. You do wonder, though, if maybe Alisson's injuries are part of the reason the club made the move for Mamardashvili in the summer. If maybe the club don't think Alisson is going to be able to play well into his 30s because of the injury factor. And maybe they're looking at it and thinking, if we could cash in, not next summer, but maybe summer 2026, when Ali would be 33, about to turn 34, maybe that's the move to make. You know, he missed 15 games last season. The previous season, he missed 4. In the title-winning season, he missed 8 through injury and 2 through illness. Sorry, that was the season after the title win. That's the season where everybody got hurt. He missed 8 games through injury and 2 through illness. In the title-winning season, he missed 18 games. Now, it's not as bad as some people make it out to be. Like, some people have said, oh, you know, he's massively injury prone. He's made of crisps, all that kind of stuff. He's not really. I mean, last season wasn't great. Actually, as I look at it, it was 18 games in total last year, which, yeah, that's not great at all. But it's only really been 2 seasons where he's had bad injuries. The title-winning season and last year. In 2021, he misses 8 games, but, like, that's across a 50-odd game season. That's not bad. Those 18 games last season and in 1920 do also include some games for Brazil as well, so it's not quite as bad for us, but it's still, 15, 16 games. Maybe they view that as he's not going to hold up long term, so that's why we're moving for Mamardashvili. He'll turn 32 in just under 2 weeks, actually. So maybe they're looking at it as this season and next season we have Alisson, and then we'll move him on. And what we'll do is we'll loan Mamardashvili this year. Mamardashvili, by the way, turns 24 in just over a week. We'll loan him this season. Next summer, we'll sell Kelleher. And we'll bring Mamardashvili in as number 2. And maybe we loan Yaros out for another year. And we run with Ali and Mamardashvili for a year. And in the following summer, we sell Alisson, promote Mamardashvili to number 1, and bring Yaros back off loan to be number 2. And hopefully get a couple of good years out of him as the number 2, then move him on. Maybe Pitaluga at that point is ready, or one of the other young goalkeepers is ready to step into the number 2 position, and we truck on like that. And with Mamardashvili then, you're talking about him taking over in the summer of 2026. He'll be 25, about to turn 26. And still, for a goalkeeper, he'll be considerably young. When we signed Alisson, I believe he was 25, about to turn 26. So it would be a similar timeline, similar kind of age profile for him to take over in 2026 as it was when we bought Alisson when we did. And remember as well, like Ali joined us, he'd only been a first choice goalkeeper really for like 2.5 years. He was a backup with International for a couple of years. Then he got his opportunity in the 2015 International season, played 57 times, was first choice for about half of the next season, but then left to go to Roma, where he sat on the bench for a season behind Szczesny, played in the Cups, played in Europe, and then took over as first choice the following year, and then joined us. So he didn't have a massive amount of experience taking over as Liverpool first choice. Now, he played quite a few games, 165, like a lot more, say, than Kelleher. But it's not like he had, like, let's say Aaron Ramsdale, for example. I think he's about that kind of age now. Aaron Ramsdale, or Baby Alisson, as Arsenal fans called him, is 26 now. So similar kind of age again. And he's played 217 club games, and he's played 5 times for England. So, about 2 seasons worth more games than what Ali had joining us. And Mamardashvili is going to have a lot of experience by the time he joins us. He's got 172 senior games under his belt at club level. He's got 23 under his belt at international level. You figure he's going to play in and around 40 games for Valencia this year. He'll be well over the 200 mark. He comes to us, he plays cup games and a handful of league games next season, maybe gets 15 appearances under his belt. So when he takes over from Alisson, he'll be well seasoned and well ready to go. So my guess is that's the plan. Kelleher and Alisson this season with Yaros as number 3. Alisson and Kelleher with Yaros as number 3. Kelleher goes summer 2025. Alisson, Mamardashvili with maybe Harvey Davies or Pitaluga or whoever as number 3 in 2025-26. Alisson goes in the summer of 2026, and then in 26-27 it's Mamardashvili, Yaros, and again Davies or whoever, whichever of the young keepers is ready to step up. And then that's kind of what it'll be for a couple of years. And then the number 2 will move on. We'll look to promote internally. I think that's part of what the club want to do, is to have a pipeline of young goalkeepers coming through that can act as number 2 and number 3, play in the cups, go on loan, get development opportunities, and then be sold and bring in profit for the club in the same way that we're going to do with Kelleher. I think they have hopes for that to be the case for a lot of other goalkeepers. Obviously, Camille Grabara falls under this as well, who we sold, I think, for 3 million. And I think we made another 2 or 2.5. What did we sell him for? We made about 6 million, I think, in total on Camille Grabara, which isn't a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but it's a solid amount of money. Doesn't list what was paid for. But we made about 6 million total on a player that never played for us, never played a first team game. That's going to be helpful. We can do that a few more times over the next couple of years. That's going to be helpful. I actually would have preferred to keep him. I think he's a more talented goalkeeper than Kelleher. But we'd be selling him. We'd be in the same situation with him as we are now with Kelleher, where he'd want to leave anyway. So it makes no real difference. And Kelleher, I think, is an easier sell to a lot of Premier League clubs. So you get a higher fee. Right, want to address something real quick. Noticed that Dave Davis mentioned this on his Big Decisions pod, and noticed it on Twitter as well. David Lynch getting quite a lot of stick for his opinion that he gave on the Media Matters pod with Dave on Monday. I kind of contributed to this, but didn't mean to. I just thought what he said was nonsense. Now, that's just my opinion, but I still think David Lynch is a good journalist and a good reporter. I think he does good work, and I'm very glad that we have him as part of Anfield Index. He said that he thought giving Mo 3 years was too big a risk. I don't think there's any risk at all, because, let's be honest, Mo has been a bargain his entire time at the club in terms of what we paid for him and then what we have paid him. Mo has overperformed this entire time and is well in credit with the club. He is still performing at a world-class level, and I don't see any reason to believe that he won't continue to do that for at least the next 2 seasons after this one. So I was saying, I think giving him a 3-year deal off the back of this season, so it will be this and 3 years more, I don't think there's a risk involved, because we have already gotten far more out of that investment than we ever hoped. Therefore, any bad season he might have has already been mitigated. It's already been paid in advance. If we have to overpay Mo for a year, we've underpaid Mo for many years. Therefore, there's no risk involved in that. Like, if you own a business and your aim is that you're going to make, let's say, 100 grand profit each year, and for 8 or 9 straight years you make 200 grand, and then let's say in 1 year you lose 50 grand. Like, there's no risk to your business there unless you're a moron, because you've been making way more than you hoped and planned for. You would hope that you have made sure that there are safety precautions in place so that if you do hit a skid, you know, in a world where we've had a global pandemic and a financial collapse within the last 16 years, you would hope that you're smart enough to have a rainy day fund or to appreciate the fact that you've been able to live well beyond your means for a couple of years because you've been making more than you assess that you would, and that if it comes to one season where you are operating at a bit of a loss, that you've already got enough in place to make up for that, to survive that, and to just tighten the belt a little bit. It's the same thing with Mo. Like, worst case scenario, he doesn't perform like a £350,000 a week player. But what's the worst he's going to perform as? 150 grand a week? Still a good player. Still a good player. It's not like he's a negative impact. And they've tried to use the comparison of Cristiano Ronaldo, how he was scoring goals but hurting his team. But that's because he's a selfish player. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo, dating back 15 years ago, was entirely about himself and not the team. And entirely about his own numbers and not the team. And even then, there were games frequently where he would hurt his team and cause Madrid to lose games. One of the reasons Real Madrid didn't win all that many league titles when Cristiano was there was because of Cristiano. He shot them out of games because he'd become obsessed. If Messi had played the night before and scored 2, he'd have to score 2. And he'd take away opportunities from others who he could slip in with a simple pass just to shoot from 35 yards and assault some child in the stand. Cristiano has always been a selfish footballer. Mo Salah has not. Mo Salah is not only a net positive as a goal scorer, he's a net positive as a creator. He's a net positive off the ball. Cristiano was never those things. He was a huge net positive as a goal scorer. He wasn't a huge net positive in terms of chance creation. If you go back and look at shots taken to passes provided, or key passes or chances created, there's a huge disparity between what Cristiano was doing and what Mo does. So the comparison to Cristiano just is inaccurate. It's just inaccurate. But there is reason to look at Cristiano. There's reason to look at Karim Benzema, who won the Ballon d'Or, 34? There's reason to look at Robert Lewandowski. There's reason to look at Luis Suarez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. There's lots and lots of examples recently of players in their mid-30s having career years, having exceptional performance. There's no reason to believe that Mo Salah is ever going to become a net negative for us. The goals might drop. Let's say the goals drop from, between 25 and 30 to 15 to 18. 15 to 18 is still elite production for a winger. But let's say in doing that, the creative numbers tick up a little bit. And they go from 10 to 12 to 15. So now instead of getting 30 goals and 12 assists, 42 goals or assists, let's say instead you're getting 18 and 15. Okay, so it is a significant drop. It's 10 goals less that he's involved in or so. 9 goals, actually. 9 goals less that he's involved in. That's still elite production for a right winger. Does anyone think Mo's going to just fall off a cliff? No. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? Does anyone think Mo is going to stop going to the gym every single day? That Mo is going to stop putting himself through incredibly rigorous pre-season before he goes back to the club for pre-season? No. Because he's never given any reason to believe that that might happen. So even if his production does drop off, what it's going to drop off from is the best right winger the Premier League has ever seen to among the best of the rest. He's going to drop from historic levels to, and now he's Bukayo Saka. It's a pretty good footballer. So that's one reason I thought the idea that it was risky was a nonsense. And the other reason I think it's a nonsense is because in 2 years, you don't think the Saudis are still going to want him? You don't think the Saudis are still going to be queuing up to take Mo Salah? And even if the fee you get is only 50 million, it's still 50 million for what would then be 35-year-old player. And there'd be no payoff involved because they'll be offering him so much money that we won't have to give up a penny. So if it comes that Mo is great this year, great next year, and then let's say really, really good the following year, but you're looking at it and thinking, maybe next season we're going to see the big fall off. Well, there's a very simple conversation to have. Mo, we think it's time. We think it's time. Do you want to start talking to the Saudis? And if he says no, fine. He has earned the right to decide when he leaves this club. And if he says yes, quid's in. Not only are you not going to be overpaying him for a year where his production is not incredible, where his level has dropped, you're going to get a good transfer fee. A transfer fee, by the way, that will represent significant profit on what you paid for him, what would have been 10 years earlier. So there's no risk here. There is no risk to the club in giving Mo a 3-year contract off the back of this contract. None. You know what's funny? He's not the only person I've heard make that argument about risk. But yet, I don't remember hearing any talk from the media of the risk of giving Jordan Henderson a huge contract at 31 with a history of significant injuries. I don't remember any talk of that at all. A guy who had missed the end of and significant chunks of the 15-16 season, the 16-17 season, the 2021 season. 3 years, significant injuries. Don't ever recall hearing a single journalist question the length of that contract. A player who on the very best day of his life isn't qualified to make Mo Salah's pre-match drink. He's not even qualified to fill him a glass of water. And yet there was no talk of, oh, well, that's a big risk. There was among the fan base, not amongst the media. When James Milner, who'd been garbage for years, was getting new contracts, there was no talk of, oh, well, should we really be doing this? We overpaid him for years. He was among the 3 or 4 highest paid players at the club for years when he was a squad player. Like, let's remember, James Milner was signed to play in midfield for us and was only a starter in midfield for 1 year. 15-16, his first year at the club. 16-17, he played largely at left back. 17-18, squad player. Ox, Henderson, Emre, and Ginny all ahead of him in midfield. 18-19 squad player, 19-20 squad player, 20-21 squad player, and 21-22 squad player. And 22-23. Squad player. Forever. Was he with us at 2022? 23? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But we were paying him as in over his last year with the club. I'm pretty certain he was with us in 22-23. Wasn't that the year he was expected to leave? And then he decided maybe he was going to come in and start his coaching and play largely with the reserves, kind of take on a similar role to Jay Spearing. And Klopp gave him a first-team contract on good money. Pretty certain it was. Either way, he'd been a squad player for years. Years. And I know he was playing regularly because Klopp would bring him on in every game because he had this insistence that we just couldn't survive without James Milner coming onto the pitch and booting people up in the air and giving the ball away cheaply. But he was a squad player for years, earning significant money. Like in 18-19 and 19-20, when we win the European Cup and the league title, he's a squad player. And he's earning more than pretty much everyone at the club, bar the front three and Virgil. And that was on their second contracts at the club. And then we started giving him additional contracts, likely on the same money or a little bit more. There was no talk of the risk then, but there is when it's Mo Salah, a much better player. It's just weird to me. Just weird to me. On This Is Anfield, there is a piece about the lineup for tomorrow. The questions on whether Gakpo stays in the team, Kelleher coming in, etc., etc. How aggressive Bournemouth could exploit Liverpool or suffered through tough day. Bournemouth, there is quite a high variance in their performance. 23-man squad in training as Alisson misses crucial sessions. So my guess would be Ali doesn't play tomorrow. If there's any kind of doubt, my guess is he doesn't play. Alisson's injury record revealed as the worst among Premier League's top keepers. Oh, wow. So, games missed for club in the last 5 years. Ali, 40. The next is Ederson with 17. No, sorry. Ederson, 17. Evan Martinez, 1. David Raya, 19. Onana, 8. I'd say United wish it was a lot more. Vicario, 7. Robert Sanchez, 32. Nick Pope, 34. And he had shoulder reconstruction. And Pickford, 11. Now, the thing with Ali is he hasn't had like a major surgery requiring injury. But I would rather still have Alisson over any of these. The only one you'd look at and think, maybe, is Emi Martinez. But even then, Ali's still a much better goalkeeper than Emi Martinez. But it is 39 games more that he's played than Ali has. but you'd still rather have Ali. And also, This Is Anfield. If anyone from This Is Anfield hears it, I do raise questions over your inclusion of Robert Sanchez, Nick Pope, and Jordan Pickford as top goalkeepers. I also raise questions over the inclusion of Andre Onana in any kind of discussion about goalkeepers, because I'm not sure he knows that's what his job is. The truth behind claims Trent is buying his own football club. So L'Equipe have put out a report suggesting that Trent is leading an investment group, including his dad, in a bid to take over Nantes in France for £84 million. Now, James Jimbo Pierce says that he's told it's not true. The Liverpool Echo have also told their readers that it's not true. And the owner of Nantes, Waldemir Kita, has brandished the reports as, and I quote, bullshit. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't even know him. I just spoke to my lawyer. I asked him, who is this guy? If you own a football club and you're admitting that you don't know who Trent Alexander-Arnold is, you do need to sell that football club immediately. Immediately. Because you're a moron. You are an absolute cupshot. But no, it doesn't sound like there's any truth to the idea of Trent buying the club anyway. Right, what else do we have here? Arne Slot admits biggest difference in Liverpool's schedule as rotation begins. We should start to see a bit more rotation in the coming weeks as the games get a little bit more frequent. Obviously, European action now back, so that adds to the schedule. But there is a way to mitigate that, and that's by losing in the League Cup next week. Darwin Núñez can copy Liverpool teammate after Arne Slot makes demands perfectly clear. Alisson a major injury death. This is Liverpool.com. Liverpool should consider giving Steven Gerrard should consider a Steven Gerrard repeat to give Arne Slot a contract boost. What is this? Liverpool fan Morgan O'Sullivan gives us all his take on the Reds' talking points. Right, let's have a look at this. Okay. Great to bounce back after the loss to Forest. Gravinger. Gives you the answer at the number 6. Well, the answer is clearly no, especially considering you highlight his performance at Old Trafford, where he didn't play as the number 6. What have you made of Arne Slot so far in general? Bournemouth the weekend. No contract news. A few years ago, Liverpool took the captain's armband off Sami Hyypiä and presented it to Steven Gerrard. Could a similar initiative be persuade the scouts in our team to say that might be the biggest pile of horseshit I've ever seen? I feel Virgil will stay and sign a 1 or 2 year deal. Not if you take the captain's armband off, and he's going to feel insulted, especially given he was promised it when he joined the club and then he wasn't given it for 5 years. So that's an absolute nonsense. Victor Gyökeres puts Liverpool on red alert with latest comments. I would be very much in favour of Victor Gyökeres being red next summer. My preference would still be João Pedro just because he's a bit younger. I do think there might be a higher ceiling. There's definitely a higher floor with Gyökeres, and the more you watch him, the more you just see Harry Kane. The movement, the skill set, finishing. What he's done since going to Sporting is just outrageous. And he's 26 now. He'll be 27 next summer, which probably rules him out as someone we would move for. But he is a hell of a player. 43 goals last season for Sporting. He's got 9 and 7 games already this season. He is a different class. We should have moved for him when he was leaving Coventry. This AnfieldIndex.com, there is a... Also, before I forget, Dave Davis made the point that, and I fully disagree with this, I should say, that one of the things Anfield Index promotes is that everybody's entitled to an opinion. I do not promote that idea because, frankly, some people are too stupid to have an opinion. So, speak for yourself. Don't speak for me. Thanks. Liverpool versus Bournemouth starting prediction. Journalist reveals the truth behind the latest Zubimendi rumours. Let's have a look at that. It's a real issue out Darwin. Piece about Matt Beard, piece about Trent and the Nantes rumours. Right, let's see what this is. Which journalist is talking about Martin Zubimendi? Oh, Paul Gorst. Like, in fairness, no one cares what Paul Gorst says because he hasn't a breeze. This is the man that said the idea of Liverpool signing Thiago was rooted in fiction 2 days before Thiago signed. There's zero credibility with Paul Gorst. Podcast-wise, though, we have lots for you to listen to. There is the Big Decisions pod with Dave. There is the press conference, which is Arne Slot answering the media's questions. Then Dave has done his post-press conference podcast. Then there is the Rival Recon with young Sethi. And I fully believe everybody should be listening to Harry each and every week. And then there is a new Minefield, which I hadn't heard yet, was not aware it was out, but will now be going to listen to. Rest of the day be damned. So get your ears in all of them. We will have Raw tomorrow. I think it's Jim Boardman with myself and Trev. I want to say it's Jim Boardman. Hopefully it's Jim. Be nice to have a chat with him. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.